She's a conservative and I'm liberal, and yet we've been friends for almost 40 years. Everyone says you shouldn't discuss politics, religion, or money, and we say that's exactly what friends should be talking about. Join us as we tackle the conversations you're having in your head, but are too scared to say out loud. Hello, Jolene.
Hello, Nicole.
And today, y'all, we are talking about this tipping and rating culture that we have found ourselves in. And it's interesting because at first, Joe, when I thought about doing this show with you today, I was like, oh, are we just going to sort of bitch about tipping and rating? And then I thought, you know what? It might be a good idea to find out where this practice began, like the history of it.
Great.
And this is one of the things that I'm just so thrilled that we have this show, because it gives me the opportunity, very selfishly, to learn about all these different things every week.
And share it with me.
That's right. And share it with all of you
Yes.
that are listening and watching. So here's the thing, and maybe you guys know this. I didn't know this. First of all, the word tip stands for to ensure promptitude.
I did not know that.
Otherwise known as promptness. And it actually started tipping in the Middle Ages in Europe. And it was a master serfdom practice where if the master thought that the serf was doing a good job, they might give them a little extra tip. So then it didn't start until wealthy Americans went to travel in Europe in the 1850s, and then they brought the practice back to America in the 1860s. But there was a lot of resistance, and a lot of Americans thought it was un-American, and they thought, we don't want to do anything that Europe does. We left Europe for the reason. It started to take off in the American South after the abolishment of slavery. And it really took off during the railway world. George Pullman, who owned most of the railways, he hired liberated Southern black men as porters and servers. And then he paid them a very tiny wage of $12 to $27.50 per month. And the rest, they were hopefully made with tips. And because it was a railway, it traveled literally. The practice of tipping became a nationwide practice. Ironically, Europe doesn't tip anymore.
Yeah.
Which is funny
Right.
to me. And of course, that became also very tricky at that time because it wasn't like slavery was abolished and there was no more racism. People could use that as a way of people of color and or women, when that eventually happened, that women were working, that they didn't necessarily, it was definitely a power push and pull, whether you were going to receive a tip or not. But the practice of restaurants took that on very early on, which has then put the onus on the customer and not on the restaurant worker, which is
No, the restaurant
really,
owner, you mean?
I'm sorry, the restaurant owner. Thank you. The restaurant owner. And then in 1938, the United States passed the Fair Labor Standard Act, and it established a federal minimum wage, except for tipped workers. They were not included. And then this I thought was wild. So in 1966, Congress created a, quote, tip credit. And at the time, it was for tip workers that they had to, it was like a 40 to 60% of the minimum wage they had to delegate to a tip worker. But in 1996, when Clinton and Gingrich, and there were the photographs of the two of them together, they passed a minimum wage freeze at $2.13 an hour for tipped workers, which to this day, 43 states still have $2.13 an hour. What does it go on? It goes on the customer. It goes on the patron. I'm very curious, Jolene. Let's start here. As the conservative in the room, what are your feelings about tipping and minimum wage and all of the things we were just talking about?
I go back to why it started. was rewarding good service. And I think when you're working in a service industry, I like it. I think about eating at a restaurant and, when we get really good service, man, we're going to tip a bunch. And if you get average service, well, I guess I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, because then you get average service, you're still going to tip because you feel obligated and except for those, 7 states, that they're relying on that tip. And I think if that's a hard job, being a server is a hard job. And so I think, man, even if the service wasn't that good, I'm still going to tip because I know that maybe they're dealing with something else, or maybe, or a lot of times it's not the server's fault. I mean, it could be the kitchen was backed up and they didn't get it out. Whatever. I still think rewarding good service, I like that. Do you? What do you feel?
Well, it was also in 2018 was when they actually they passed a law that they would include the back of house, meaning the chefs, and that in part of the pools. Before that, they weren't even included in the tipping.
Right. And that, because I always thought about that. Okay, wait a second. Is the cook is actually the one who's making our food. Shouldn't he get something or she get something? That has. So I love that they do that. Okay, but here's my question to you: do you want the restaurant to advertise that they're giving that tip in a pool?
It's so funny that you ask, because when I was worked in one particular restaurant in New York called Carmine's that a lot of people have been to. It was the original one. The Midtown one didn't exist yet. It was the early 90s, and at the time they didn't have women servers. They said that the plates were too heavy. Which, of course, is a whole other can of worms. And then when they opened up the Midtown location, they couldn't use that excuse, and they hired women. But I was at the front of house. I did reservations and I did hostessing, and I was on an hourly wage that was a little higher than minimum wage at the time. Yeah. And I was not included in the pooling.
Yeah.
And our restaurant did pool. And I thought it wasn't advertised, but I thought it was so smart to pool, because then everyone works as a team and doesn't compete against each other in the same way, I think, if you don't pool.
Yeah.
There's so many thoughts about this too, because restaurants are one thing versus nowadays, because of technology, and we can get into the rating part, but basically, since we kind of stopped using cash, now they have this point of sale thing that is and they're tricky. They put to the left 25, and then they put 20, and then they put 30. And you're and if you're not paying attention, you're just pressing, or you feel embarrassed, or you feel ashamed, or all the feelings you might feel, right? And then all of our food is more expensive right now. Restaurants are expensive. The food is expensive. And so you're tipping a percentage on a way higher bill. And a lot of times I am finding that the service isn't very good, but they expect you to tip on that percentage of that high bill. And as a patron, I'm thinking, this is really taking away from it's feeling deceitful. It's feeling gross. I feel kind of just used and disappointed. And having been in the service industry, sometimes my standards are higher.
Yeah.
And I also have deep empathy because I know how hard it is.
Right.
On both sides. But then when you go to, I don't know, a Starbucks, I suppose, or a Blue Bottle in New York, and it's tip, and they've handed you a cup.
Oh my gosh.
I know that bothers you, because even I might get a cappuccino, you get a paper cup, right? And you're seriously?
Did I tell you the story that I was at the airport, and our local airport in Springfield, and I go up to the little coffee counter and I get a black coffee, one black coffee. And she does it on the screen, and she turns the screen around so I can tip. And I'm I'm standing here. This is what bugs me when I'm the one that is you're literally staying there. And so I tip her 20%, I'm sure. And she hands me the cup because the coffee pot was on the other side that I had to go do it myself. And I'm like, I almost wanted to go back and go, give me that money back because I'm going to tip myself. I'm going to get, you did nothing but handed me a cup.
But in this situation, Jolene, exactly. And so it's enraging. So
Yes.
Here's my question. For me, and maybe it's a liberal thing, but I'm like, hey, cafe owner, pay your people.
Right.
Pay your people.
Okay.
Now I hear, I don't know, but I think Starbucks takes really good care of their employees. That's what I've heard on the street. I don't know. I don't know
Well, I
anyone
think
that works
Starbucks
there.
doesn't allow tipping anymore. I
See,
think they changed that.
And I think there are a couple restaurants that in New York that took that away.
Yeah.
They took tipping away and they raised their prices. And to me, it was like, this is such a better experience because I know that these people are being taken care of.
You like the fact that you're going to pay more
Yes.
Yes, and not have to tip at all.
Here's the crazy part, Joe, is that all those restaurants have gone away. They really flourished during the pandemic. And I also know that the tipping culture got really massive during the pandemic.
Right.
Because everyone felt so awful.
Yep.
And we need to make sure we're trying. And the good part is we're like trying to take care of each other.
Yep.
But now it's like, okay, we're not in the pandemic anymore.
Right. And
we all need to
and
slow our roll here.
That's exactly right. So I feel like, yes, that during the pandemic, it was natural to tip more, 25, 30% or more. And then all of a sudden we're still doing it. I mean, because nobody wanted to be gutsy enough to go, I'm not going to pay you that.
Right.
Okay. I went
Right.
through and looked at what are the standards because I think this is really interesting. The industry standard right now at a restaurant is 18 to 22%. 18 to 22% is standard. And I think
Standard meaning that's what they expect their patron to tip.
Yep. Yeah. So exceptional service is 25% and up, and poor service is, 15%. Don't you remember when it wasn't very long ago that it was 10%?
Oh my God.
Does that just make us
Listen.
old or does that make us cheap? I don't know.
This is an argument that is in my family with my dad. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Bob.
Where I have given him a lot of crap because he's like, why aren't we paying 10%? I'm like, it's not 1980.
I know.
Dad, it's not 1980. And and we get into little tense moments sometimes.
Okay,
and then he'll be like, Nicole, I tipped 20%, and I'm like, okay, good. But it's so
I would do the
foreign to
same
him.
thing to my dad. He was a staunch Dutchman. He was frugal with his money.
Gosh.
And I would look to see how much he tipped, and then I would get cash out of my pocket and I'd put it on the table
That's
after
right.
he walked
Me
away because
too.
I felt embarrassed.
Me too.
that's
Exactly.
fine. Okay.
Sorry, Dad, but it's true. He's never worked in the service industry, so he doesn't understand necessarily how hard it can be. But I also think, why are you paying more than 10% if someone's handing you a paper
100%.
cup?
Yeah.
Like, those are very different things. And then in terms of the rating,
Okay, wait, no, wait. Let's.
Yeah.
We gotta stick on
Yeah,
this
please,
because
please.
by the way,
Yeah.
Bob, you're perfect. So don't ever let Nicole tell you anything differently.
I don't.
He's perfect. Okay.
Perfect.
Counter service is 10 to 20%. Okay, so that made me feel a little
okay.
bit better. That is better.
Okay.
Hair salons, 15 to 25%.
Well, that's another thing, Jolene. Do you remember, or I was taught this, I don't know, if the owner, you were never supposed to tip the owner, and now, hi, Vernell. I love Vernell. She's my girl. She owns her salon, but we're supposed to tip her.
Yes, I
I'm
do
like,
the same
when
with
did that change?
I do the same with Lynette. Hello, Lynette.
Yeah.
I'm still going to tip her because again, I appreciate her doing such a good job. It's not easy to cover all these grays. Okay, Uber and Lyft, 10 to 20%.
Oh, I got to talk about this. Yeah.
No?
Well, I'll put a pin in it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to make a little mark next to that one. Hotel, $2 to $5 per interaction. This is a question that I always have. If you're doing valet parking, do you tip when you pull up and give your keys to somebody, or do you tip when they bring your car as you're leaving?
I don't have a car generally, but I would say you tip them when they bring your car after.
I've always thought the same thing. But then I've read
Are we
recently,
wrong?
well, I've read that you can do it at both times because you're literally giving your keys to your car to somebody. Why don't they deserve the money? They're going to go park it and take care of it.
But why doesn't the employer pay them a wage so that they don't have to rely on those tips?
Okay, that's true. Okay.
Putting that out there.
But so hotel,
Okay.
$2 to $5 per interaction. If here's the question.
You just broke.
If you've stayed for a couple of days, housekeeping came and cleaned your room, but they didn't leave you any towels. They forgot. They were out of towels, whatever.
Okay.
So then you call down and you go, could I have some more towels, please? Do you tip that person when they come to the door and bring you towels?
We don't. We tip at the end.
Okay. For housekeeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
Okay.
you?
No.
In the interaction?
Here, this
Okay.
is a great question as well. We typically, if you're going to stay over 2 nights or over 1 night, so if you're staying more than 1 night,
Okay.
we tip on the very first day, like the first time, you've slept there and they come to clean your room that day, because we feel like if you tip them, then they'll give you a clean room. Why tip at the
Interesting.
very end when you're not going to reap any benefits from them seeing that tip? You could reap the benefits and they'll go, I'm going to give them 2 mints. I'm going to leave them an extra bottle of water because they gave me a nice tip. That's my line of thinking.
All right. I don't know. I just thought they usually clean your room and then we just give them some love at the end.
At the end. Okay.
I never really thought about
right.
it. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I think it's nice to do it. Okay. Delivery drivers, 15 to 20%.
I mean, yeah. And in New York, you order a lot of food out, a lot of delivery. And yes, and that can be a point of contention too, because of sometimes there's one restaurant in particular, and I don't know if it's the restaurant or the delivery service, but they have, hours have gone by and the food doesn't come, and then is that the delivery person's fault? Is that how do you reward good behavior and then say, hey, you're taking advantage? So but of course I feel like it goes on that poor delivery person who is not getting paid minimum wage, who is relying on those tips. And delivery people in New York, no joke, they are risking their lives every day, speeding on those electric bikes, which I already don't like those things, and they're expected to go fast and have that food warm, and they're dodging traffic in millions of people in a city. And generally, if something goes wrong, they're the ones that get dinged, not the restaurant.
Yeah.
The restaurant is already charged
your
what
money.
they're going to charge, right?
That's a good point. I've never done Uber Eats.
You live in the middle of nowhere. Who's going to deliver?
That is a great point. But even when we lived in areas,
Well, you're a great cook, and
I would rather go and pick up the food.
I see.
I
see.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm not a big takeout person or delivery person. I'd much rather go to the place or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. No, 2 more. Movers, $20 to $50 per mover, which I think that's probably right. I mean, I think is it a whole house? Is it just a 1-bedroom apartment? I mean, is it up 3 floors?
I've moved 16 times or something in New York, and when I was really young and poor, my friends and I would move. That would be different. But then once I was a big enough girl to hire movers, and it's no joke in New York. It is major. So
I'm sure.
Now I have an elevator, but there have been many apartments that it's walk-ups, and they're crazy old tenement buildings that it's super narrow, and you're like, how the hell are these guys doing this?
Yeah.
So I'm a big proponent and offering lots of water.
Yes. Buying them lunch if it's all day.
Yes,
Yeah, I agree.
exactly.
Okay, coffee shops. Loved this. Coffee shops, $1 to $2 or 10 to 15%. Didn't know that. I didn't know that you could do $1 to $2. So a coffee shop, I'm assuming that's a Starbucks,
yeah.
right? I mean, like you
Well,
walk up and order.
I knew that because like a couple of places that I like to go, Blue Bottle and this place called La Colombe, they actually have on their point of sale on their screen, $1, $2 custom.
Oh,
So it's not
perfect.
even like this big percentage of, and their baristas, they're making cappuccinos and all the things you
Fancy
want them to make.
coffees, yeah.
Fancy coffee. They're not just handing you a cup. But yeah, it's nice. I mean,
And 60 to 70% of Americans say tipping is out of control. Well, heck
Girl.
yes.
hell's bells, as you would say.
Hell's
Yes.
bells, yes.
Listen, this is a topic that I think conservatives and liberals can get behind because it has gotten completely out of control.
Yeah.
And I feel like the service has gotten worse. It's like gotten out of control, and then there's this like, I don't know, sense of entitlement, and also people are just not getting paid enough, so they really rely on those tips in a way that
So,
like stuff is just so expensive. It's not. They're not able to make a living wage.
okay, but do you think that removing tipping would reward bad behavior or bad service or make service worse?
I don't know. I mean, I know that some servers and bartenders really like tipping because they can make way more money. There is that possibility.
And isn't that a capitalist view of, I mean, okay, so if we look at this, I'm sorry that I interrupted you.
That's okay.
If we look at this, I kind of feel like this is kind of a Republican versus Democrat thing. Republicans traditionally would say the harder you work, the more money you make. And that you should be rewarded for working harder and you get more money. Where I would say more of a Democrat view or maybe even a socialist view is, nope, everybody makes the same, put it all in a pot at the end of the night and divide it up.
I mean, I don't feel that way. What I can't speak for all liberals. I want people to be able to make a minimum wage and then get tips on top of it. Because I feel like if they have a minimum wage, like some days are slow, some days are not, but that at least that person is walking into work, doing their job, hopefully doing it well with pride.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Sometimes you have a bad day, whatever. Sometimes you're a shitty worker and then you should be fired.
Yeah.
I am all for rewarding good work, but I personally, and maybe this is a liberal thing, I would like every worker to get minimum wage. And then maybe it could shift the tip culture in terms of you walk in and you're like, well, I know you're making $15, $16 an hour, or whatever the minimum wage is for each state. And then, you know what? You were lovely today. I'm going to give you a couple bucks on top of that when you bought me, or you gave me my coffee.
Yeah.
And I think it allows the worker to calm down too, to know, okay, at least I'm going to make whatever.
Okay, so then are
dollars
you
today.
prepared to spend $50 for a cheeseburger at a restaurant then because they're having, I mean, a sit-down restaurant because you're going to have to, I think that's probably the view that you have to look at this or the lens that you look at this through. Okay, so then if you're going to pay the the water guy and the busboy and the hostess and all that, if everybody's going to make minimum wage, then the owner of that restaurant is going to have to charge $50 for a cheeseburger.
See, they're not
hypothetical.
because
And so,
Okay,
but then that restaurant owner is going to go out of business because nobody's going to come and pay 50, and then all those people are out of work, right?
But why does it have to be so black and white?
Okay, give me what you think.
Well, I mean, I have been to some non-tipping restaurants or that used to be non-tipping restaurants. And yes, I mean, the hamburgers were not 50, but they were like 25. I've been to restaurants now that are tipping.
Yeah.
Like everything's so expensive.
Right.
Like hamburgers are $25 and then you're supposed to tip
Yeah.
15 or 20 to 25%. So I guess that argument I have a hard time with because it's sort of like, well, people are out of business. And then to me, it's sort of like, well, don't open a restaurant. I mean, opening a restaurant is one of the hardest things you could possibly do.
I would agree.
And it's really hard to make money off of it.
Right.
And I just believe, I don't know if this is a liberal thing. I don't believe that it is because I think conservatives want to be happy too. I think it
yes,
would be nice.
They do.
Right? So I just think having a happy staff is really important. It's just even like if we're on a sports team, if you're feeling like you're being respected, you are being taken care of, that you're going to do a better job. I just don't think that we've really explored it because as long as you and I have been alive, because from the research that we have done, restaurants and tipping have gone hand in hand. We've never had a situation where like the standard is you pay maybe you have less staff, maybe you have a tinier restaurant. Like I don't know. Like it's a really, really hard job or hard business, period. I guess I just don't like that corporations / businesses, like they get away with kind of bad behavior because...
Okay, but I would challenge you that it's not bad behavior. It's economics. It's okay. This is the menu that we have. I'm thinking of our friends who had a Mexican restaurant when we lived in Texas. They've got their fixed costs are the rent of the building and the price of their ingredients and all that, and they've got to make a profit. So, and I'm not saying, and they were not rich by any means. And there were some months that they made a profit and there were some months that they didn't make a profit, depending on, how many people came and ate. But I'm telling you, if people have a choice and they choose not to go to a more expensive restaurant that they can get the same food. I mean, I'm comparing a Mexican restaurant here. So if they can go to a different Mexican restaurant and get relatively the same food, but it is cheaper because those employees are counting on tips so that the employer doesn't have to come up with that with their wage, then you're going to have more people that go to that restaurant, right? Because people don't think about, when you go to a restaurant, you're looking at the prices on the menu. You're not looking at the end when you paid that. But we had a couple of margaritas and we tipped and there was tax and all that. I don't think you remember those things. You remember looking at the enchiladas were $12 or were the enchiladas $20?
So let's play with this a second, because when it comes to restaurants, I am not so against the tipping because there is a possibility to make more money tipping. Mm-hmm. I do have a problem with where they put the thing in your hand and then they don't let you hold it. Like so many times I'm like, may I hold it so I can write? Like give me the fucking thing. Like I want to be able to write. But I do wonder, because I know that minimum wage is different for every state. We could, collaborate in a different way, Republicans and Democrats, and say, okay, how about we raise the restaurant depending as a percentage of that state's minimum wage like they did in 1966. So maybe it isn't the full minimum wage, but it's a little more than $2.13 an hour.
Yeah.
Like maybe there is some sort of rate adjustment to give the person a little bit more stability and not always rely on the tip.
Yeah.
I also, without totally impacting a restaurant owner, their bottom line, because it's really hard to make money as a restaurant owner, period. Yeah. If I were in Congress, that is something that I would want to take a look at, because I don't think $2.13 seems bananas in 2026.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
But the tipping thing in general, as we've talked about, it's like, oh my gosh, this is what I want to talk to you about. Uber and Lyft.
Yeah.
And this has to also go into rating a little bit.
Okay. All right.
So as it turns out, rating started pretty much they're saying around 2004 when Yelp was created. And then 2007, Google Business took it on as well. But then I was reading something where they found like in some like Greek archaeology find, it was like where someone had written about like bad service and da-da-da-da. And so that we as human beings have a proclivity to rate and sort of organize our brains. This is good. This is not good. Like we enjoy that. We enjoy that sort of comparison and giving our opinion to other people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so because of technology too, it has gotten so bananas. And I'm guessing it's also just the programs that people use for their businesses that, you know, someone looks at you and you get a text saying, "How'd I do?" And you're like, you didn't do anything. Like 5 stars, give me 5 stars. And so when it comes to Uber and Lyft, and I don't know, I've bitched about this before, like, New York, man. I don't take Uber or Lyft or taxi unless I'm going to and from the airport. Just for me, I find it to be an enormous waste of money and also a lot of stress, and I like the subway. So, but when it comes to traveling, I feel like it's gotten to the point, it's gotten so bananas that lately I feel like I'm taking my life into my own hands when I get in that car. People are driving like complete madmen. Madmen. And then you're supposed to tip the madman. And then you're supposed to rate them, which then you're like, well, if I rate you how I really feel, I'm a customer that's also being rated.
Right.
Right? So how honest can you really be?
Not
because what I want to say is like, there are no stars. I want no stars because you were fucking terrifying. I thought I was going to die and you should never drive a Lyft again. But then I don't do that because I'm like,
you don't want to be shamed into have given
right.
the bad review. Okay, I will tell you, this happened to me in New York, actually. We were in an Uber, and it was an SUV. I think there were 4 or 5 of us in this car. And the driver was so bad, and I get car sick pretty easily.
Yeah, I do too.
But he's doing the thing like and we're not in traffic. Like he could have gone a steady pace, but he's going on the gas. And so he's doing it so badly that I'm going, is he listening to a song and he's like tapping his foot to the beat of a song? And I'm like, no, I don't see headphones. I was so ready to throw up that we got a couple of blocks from where we were going. And I think I even said to him, I go, could you stop doing that, please? And he's like, doing what? And I go, like accelerating and with your foot? And he was like, and he said, no, or something, I don't know what he said. And so we got a couple of blocks away and I go, stop right now. We're getting out right here. And we got out because I couldn't. And I thought, okay, but wait, I don't think that I can give him a bad review because...
Yes, Jolene, yes. We had a situation, I can't remember, it was this last year, and we got home super late. It was like 1:30 in the morning or something, and there was no one on the road. And he was driving so fast that I finally screamed, "You've got to stop!" Because Josh just gets real quiet, and I am looking at him like, we are going to die. And I'm like, and I am not dying quietly. Like, and he's like, oh, okay, sorry. Most customers want me to get there fast. I'm like, why? There's no one on the road. You should never drive like this. Like, I was so incensed, and I talk about my nervous system, but my nervous system was so rattled. I was like, what is this? And I got out of the car when we got to our house or our apartment, and I took a picture of the license plate. And I was all determined to report him, and then I didn't.
I know. However, I am one of those people. I will tip more if you drove fast and you got me there quicker. Oh,
no, you would not. This was like, we're going to flip over. Like, why are you driving so fast? It
All
was
right.
crazy.
Okay. All right.
It was crazy.
Maybe I wouldn't, but I
Because he did that thing.
seriously, that makes me just want to throw up talking about it.
Just talking about it, so we won't talk about it anymore.
Okay, let's talk about rating, though. I will say,
let's talk about it.
Here's the thing with rating. We have gotten to the point, and the fact that you said that it started with Yelp, we've gotten to the point where we don't trust ads anymore. Like with the development of social media, we as consumers finally have some authenticity from knowing if a place is good or not, because now we can look at ratings. In fact, our girls will not go to a restaurant yet. Like we'll go to a restaurant and they are immediately looking at the rating and going, nah, I don't think that's a good idea.
Jackson does the same thing.
Right? That's such a young, I think that's a young person's
It's a young thing. There's an app called Belly that is really popular.
Okay.
For restaurants where people will rate I was like, I have no interest in it, but I know these kids are like, they will not go unless they get an okay.
Yeah.
Or more like a rave.
But I kind of like that. I kind of like the authentic, I mean, you could look at the website and all the food looks fantastic.
Oh, for sure.
But then you get there and you're like, no, this isn't right. So I want to see the real reviews. What did people really think of it, that have no skin in the game? So, I mean, that's how I think that rating has really, as a business owner, the better your ratings are, the more that people are going to buy. I mean, that's the bottom line. So,
but haven't you heard, Jolene, that some people are just sort of unhappy revenge people and they write a horrible review and you're like, that's not what happened.
This just happened to us.
I bet because it's your work. I would think that.
Well, and it wasn't so much that it was a review, but a lady said that she bought one of our products and that it was in the wrong box, and the product that she got had nuts in it, and we didn't have that warning on it was the wrong product in the wrong box. And so I, immediately went into panic mode and went, oh my gosh, that how did that happen? And so we contacted, our manufacturer. We go through all of our distributors. We go through everything. She provided a lot code for us, and we're like, it wasn't possible. Like that physically was not possible that happened. For a lot of different reasons. And so there are people that are out there that want free product or want, they think. And so my response always is, thank you so much. I'm going to send you some free product. We are a small family run business. And because I want them to know they're not dealing with a multi-million-dollar business that goes, oh my gosh, we're going to get sued. Here's $1,000 for your trouble. But I think a lot of people will do that intentionally.
I think so too. They're trying to get free stuff.
Too bad. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are trying to work the system.
Okay. So do you like the ratings then? Do you rely on ratings?
I hate them.
So you don't look at them?
No, I do. I'm a sucker. I'm part of the society, and I absolutely do. I will look at restaurants on Google and be like, well, this is only a 4.3. Shouldn't we go to a 4.7? But then you realize you don't even know who these people are rating, and some of them are not going to have the same taste as you.
Right.
But yeah, I'm completely guilty of it.
Yeah.
Where I really hate it is we have a broken HVAC here right now, and I'm bundled up because it's freezing upstairs. And they came to work on it a couple of weeks ago, and they said it was fixed. And then, as soon as the guy walks out the door, I get a text. How'd we do? And I was like, he's great, whatever. And then 3 days later, it was broken again. And so this particular company is just so ratings happy. I think it has to do with their program, and I'm sure it's completely automated.
Yep.
They press a button, the technician leaves, and the text comes through.
Yep.
Where I think it's also not okay is when people, I think, sometimes don't understand that a position that you're in, that you're a small family business, and those ratings, those more reviews, I guess the stars matter, but the reviews, what you say, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
because you could really impact someone's life because you were in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Or you something it went, it went wrong, and maybe contact the person, the owner first.
Yep.
Versus just splaying it out to the world.
Yep.
And I definitely don't do that because I'm like, that's just bad mojo.
I completely agree. Yeah.
You're just impacting, and guaranteed you write that business owner personally, not broadcasting it.
Right.
And they're going to do everything they can to remedy the situation.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
But when you just become, sorry, Linda, a total fucking dick, and you just put all your stuff,
Yep.
It's that performance culture. I'm like, you're actually just trying to show how smart or or funny or rude or whatever you are, and that's not really serving anyone.
Yep.
It's not going to serve you because they're not going to help you.
Yep.
You're being a jerk.
Yep. 100%.
Listen, I'm really trying to not swear as much, but sometimes it's fun.
Okay.
I think everybody should try it every once in a while.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a release. So, do you find as a business owner, when people do rate, is it helpful?
Yes.
Is it honest? Do you know if it's honest?
Well, I was going to say this too. So yes, it is helpful because I want to hear the good and the bad. And if you didn't like it, why didn't you like it? And why, what can we do to make it better? And if I don't hear that, then I assume everybody thinks it's okay. So no, I think it's important to have that honest feedback. But what I will say there are a lot of companies out there that provide the service of giving you ratings and reviews. So I would just caution.
What does that mean?
Meaning I can pay a company to give me 50 good reviews.
Oh, yes.
Or
yes.
50, 5 stars. And I mean.
Pay to play, baby.
Absolutely. And so now we're even getting then to the point where that's not authentic anymore. And so, that's a whole thing. Viewer, I would love to hear your perspective. I would love to hear what your experience has been. And do you think we should do away with tipping altogether? Would you like to be a like the European countries? And like Japan, it's an insult, I read. Like in Japan, it's an insult to receive a tip.
It's interesting because they love, at least in Tokyo, they love Western things. So it'll be interesting to see if that changes.
Yeah.
But it is not part of their culture, no. Because they also pride themselves on very good service, and they pay their workers, and it's just a very different culture. But also, listener and viewer, if you think that maybe we could even just do a percentage increase on the minimum wage in these tipping, what's the word I want, Jolene? I mean, yes, restaurants, but tipping industries. Would you, as a conservative, be open to that? Is there something that we can start to wiggle about and it not just keep it at a $2.13 per hour situation?
Definitely.
To sort of go with what's going on with inflation and all of that. I'm sure we'll be talking about this some more, but we just wanted to get out there, get in front of it, and talk about, because it is something that I think both Jolene and I have a lot of crossover. All right, hit me with a would you rather.
Okay,
please.
Here it is. Would you rather go to a great restaurant where they display the amount you tipped on the big screen as you walk out the door? Like I'm envisioning it as you walk out the door. There's a big screen and it says
amazing.
Tipped 18%. Or
I love this.
Go to a restaurant where there's no tipping allowed.
My God. I would go to a restaurant where there's no tipping allowed. I don't care how expensive it is.
No,
that is
cheap.
mortifying.
No, the people only make like $6 an hour.
Oh. So I know, like, I'm going to a place where I'm like ripping everyone off.
Yep.
Okay, fine. I am choosing where they blast my tipping because I'm going to tip well because I do tip well.
Right? And I would want to be a server at that restaurant because I mean, obviously you're going to be completely obligated to
You
tip
know what's
well.
shocking is that hasn't happened.
I know.
Maybe from this episode, one restaurant will be like, that's a great idea. Let's do it. Let's shame everyone.
Totally. I think that would be great. Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Would you rather find a $100 bill floating in a public toilet or a $20 bill in your own pocket?
Oh, God, that's a really good one. Oh, how desperate are you for that $100?
I know. And I'm not suggesting that there is other things in that toilet.
Like it's clear water.
That's what I was thinking, because
Yeah.
I don't even need to go. That's just gross.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that to you. And obviously, it depends on a person's circumstances for sure. But some people really just struggle with public toilets in general.
Which I kind of do. It just depends on where it is. And
Gosh, I have such a memory, Jolene, of being 6 years old, visiting my grandmother in Dallas. And she took us to the Dallas Zoo. And I went into the toilet. I'll never forget it. And she just screamed. She scared the shit out of me. She goes, "Don't sit down." And I was like, "What? What?" She's like, "Don't sit down on the toilet." And every time I go into a public restaurant, I think of my
Grandma yelling at
screaming
you.
Screaming at me, "Don't sit down." And I'm like, what's going to happen?
Build those quad
And when you're 6 years
missiles.
old, you're not very tall.
I was actually picturing that as a 6-year-old.
Listen, I'm not that much taller, but I'm taller than the 6-year-old. And it's still tough sometimes.
Oh, that is funny. Okay,
right.
I'm going to go with the $100 bill because I'm going to
Okay.
take toilet paper and I'm going to bob for like if it's floating on top, so you're not digging in, it's floating on top. So I'm going to take toilet paper and get it and put it on like some other toilet paper and wrap it up and then go somewhere, the nearest place, and either spend it, like get a pack of gum so I get the rest of the money back, but I'll get rid of it right away.
Are you going to tell that person
No.
you found it in the toilet?
Oh, heck no.
Dude,
No.
you could be like spreading some disease.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But I'm also
I
$100
never-
richer.
There you go. You're hilarious. When you
That was a
said
really good one.
Bob for it, I was like, Bob for it. You don't put your face in there.
You have to get it with your mouth.
I didn't say that. Oh my gosh.
That's a good one.
Okay, Jolene. Thank you very much for this. Thank you for
Thank you.
the laugh today and the
Yes.
like mental gymnastics that we have every week. I'm really grateful for you. And listener and viewer, thank you so much for listening and watching and contributing. You can always reach out to us. You can comment on YouTube. You can reach out to our website, like Jolene said, about being a sponsor, and go to our contact page and write to us at we'vegotttotalk.com.
You can rate us.
Oh, Lord.
And
yes, you can. You can rate us
review
on
us.
Spotify and Apple and all the things.
So all the
Yes,
things
you
that we
can.
just said, you don't want to
Yes.
do. We actually want you to do to us.
We definitely want you to subscribe. That is something
Yes.
we want you to do.
Please do that.
That is very helpful to our algorithms and like Jolene said at the top of the show, please share with a friend.
Yep.
This is how we keep this going forward and keep learning from each other and talking to each other in a very respectful and curious way. Goodbye.
Thank you.
We've Got to Talk is produced across the world by the wildly talented, creative, and hilarious team at Bambi Media. Our theme song is Jump Jive Swing by Space Train Unlimited. Thank you so much for listening, and join us every week for another episode of We've Got to Talk.